Hey friends, thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button, hit that like. It helps us grow the channel, and I can't even express how much that means to us. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, for sure. It's been awesome so far, but you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you haven't been on social media, get on there because we got another contest going on.
Last one of the year, I believe. Tickets giveaway, because they ain't giving away those playoff tickets.
No, not at all.
I'm going to be there for that one. So check us out on social media. Enter the draw to win free tickets to the next Bomber game against the Elks. We got some NFL football to talk about. We got the new Power 5 for the week. We have CFL Power Rankings, but let's start off with our Winnipeg Blue Bombers looking good against the number one rival Saskatchewan Roughriders. I had fun watching them whoop them again for the third time. You're not sick of that yet, are you?
No, I could watch it a couple more times for sure this season.
Yeah, I'll watch the replay. Haven't yet, but I will watch it, the replay. So let's talk about some takeaways you get from the Saskatchewan game. The first one I love, and I talked about this last week, and I can't tell y'all how much I am obsessed with the O-line in football. Like when I play Madden and I draft a team, O-line is always the first person I draft. But the six O-line set that they're playing now, like, what do you do when you have six good O-linemen? You play six good O-linemen at the same time. Yeah. It helped the running game. It helped the passing game. Even if they had like only 3 or 4 receivers out there, it just gave Caleros more time and things opened up. It was great.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to have with all those linemen out there and blocking. It opened things up. It opened up the Dembski play, giving that enough play time to get open for Dembski way downfield. The Dalton Schoen play too, right? And then it helped the underneath stuff. The offense got, a good rhythm going early, and then they went into a lull.
Yeah.
And then they kind of got back to that again later in the second half and made some big plays out of it. It was nice to watch, and it kept Claros clean.
Yeah, and it really got Oliveira into the game early. There was a good between 20 and 30 yard run early in the game where there was just a big hole that opened up the gut, and he took it down the middle, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And the way he got up and did a little shuffle, it reminded me of Andrew Harris a bit.
It did.
I'm like, you got that from your boy, didn't you?
Yeah, it's like I don't want to keep saying stuff like that because I want Oliveira to be his own guy, right? But
yeah,
I thought the same thing when I saw him late in that game. And it was like the games of last year, right? When the Bombers are just pounding it down to finish the game off and everything. And the O-line's blocking great, big holes, big runs. And yeah, he did it. And I'm like, there's Andrew Harris. But, it's good to see Oliveira getting there, and especially getting into the playoffs coming up here. He's going to have to be a big factor in that.
Absolutely.
So, and we've talked about the offense before, that rhythm, keeping that rhythm going. And they got into a lull. Like I said, and then Saskatchewan started to take that game over a bit in the second half. But to me, the biggest thing for Saskatchewan was that field goal when they were down 17-10. Go for it, man. Your season's on the line. Things haven't been going well lately. Go for it. You're at the 7-yard line. And that, to me, changed the game because the Bombers went down and scored right away after that.
Let me tell you, it must have been about a month and a half ago where we were like, that coach is not going to make it.
No.
He's not going to be the coach of the next season. And I feel that he's almost got to go more than Paulo Police because Saskatchewan is bumbling and fumbling at the wrong time. They have a huge matchup against Hamilton for that possible last playoff spot there. So they're not in good shape. They didn't look like any semblance of any kind of competitive Saskatchewan team. Not that I want to see that, but there's almost a pity, should I say? Pity for Rider Nation?
They got into a bit of rhythm halfway through the game, like in the second half, right?
Yeah,
and it's like
the run game.
Yeah, and it's like they looked like a good team, but they still making the mistakes. They drove down there. Fajardo fumbles the snap, like stuff like that. And then even the kicking the field goal there at the 7-yard line, like they're finally getting momentum. You get a touchdown there, and it's a new ball game, and maybe Sask has a chance to win that game. But you took the save play, and like you say, Dickinson. It's stuff what I heard from before. Like he used to go for that kind of stuff, and he took those risks. And now I think he's going to coaching scared a bit,
absolutely,
because he knows. But it's just like, buddy, just go for it, man. Your season, you've only won 2 of your last 10.
Yes, it's like he's hoping. He's hoping for a spark rather than creating that spark.
Yeah,
Just show the team that you believe in them and see what's up. But it feels like he's lost the room maybe. Like, we're the farthest people away from what's going on in Saskatchewan, but just looking at the team, they're a shell of 6 turnovers.
Yeah, and then 2 of those were 3rd down and 1 stops.
Yeah.
Like 2 in 1 game. Like those are gimmies in the CFL, man, half the time. Or majority, 95% of the time, whatever it is. But, and give credit to Bomber D. They may have given up a lot of yards. Fajardo had over 300, stuff like that. But they held firm, and those big plays on 3rd down when Saskatchewan had a chance to take momentum, even stopping Saskatchewan for that field goal.
Yeah.
They were taking over that game. And the D is just like, you know what? That's enough kind of thing. And then the offense is like, hey, we got to do something. So it was
secondary look solid. Definitely room to grow. Liked what I saw from Winston.
Yeah,
just played a solid game. Played a physical game. Was a presence. That was good to see. Still missing Jeffcoat, even though they were dominant. Not to complain and nitpick again, like I usually do, but there's just that kind of the stick that's missing that stirs the pot there with Jeffcoat on the line. And that's only, man, they can be more dominant. They will be more dominant when he comes back.
Yeah, and I'm good with him taking as long as he needs.
Absolutely.
Be ready for the playoffs. I mean, the Bombers need a win or 2 or a win and a BC loss, and they got the West Final, home game wrapped up. Yeah. So get Jeffcoat healthy. We need him for the playoffs more than anything. But Willie Jefferson has just been a beast over these last few games, man. And besides the Hamilton game, they've been on fire, that D-line, and he's just been a disruptor big time.
Yeah, he's always the energy, heart, and playmaker on that defense. It's like whenever they really need a play to be made to turn up that energy, Willie Jefferson is there. And like you mentioned earlier, Dembski combined with Schoen. What a solid duo that was, that game. Like, Dembski had 90-something yards. Schoen had 140-something. And again, that's also, I'm very comfortable with them playing 6 O-linemen when you have 2 receivers like that with extra time to run around. And if it breaks down, they still have time to run around and make something happen.
Yeah, and to think you still got Rashid Bailey there. Wolotarski and Ellingson hopefully back soon.
Absolutely.
So it's like the firepower is there, right? And then you got the good O-line and a good running game. So heading into the playoffs, that'll be great. I mean, to have all those guys back and ready for it. But yeah, it'll be exciting. You just got to get guys healthy over the next few weeks.
Yeah. And not to kick a dead horse, but the 6 O-lineman thing, I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but what it does is it sparks this creativity of what this offense can be. They can play with 3 receivers sometimes, and what happens if they add Wolotarski, and what happens if they have a 5 receiver set, like the amount of looks that they can give to different teams. I hope Buck Pierce has found something there. Because that in itself can be just dynamic and confusing for the defense. And they can't commit to the blitz when they don't know what looks are coming, or when they have a heavy look. They don't know what to do. So I'm really encouraged by what I saw from the offense this week.
It does. And it's got a lot of firepower. So let's see. Let's take it off. And we know, obviously, the playoffs are different because it's cold and whatever. We saw that last year in the West Final. Yeah. But they got the horses there. Let's unleash it a little bit more.
Yeah, I can't wait. Getting excited. I can't wait for that. Well, I won't be at that next game because I'm a bit busy. I wish I could be at
so that hence the giveaway.
No, hence nothing. Y'all enjoy the game on my behalf and cheer loud because it might be another sellout. 30,000 again at this game.
That's awesome. That's good. Let's keep it going. Keep that thing full right to whatever playoff game they're playing in and everything.
It's good to be a Bomber fan. It's good.
It is, man. After all those lean years, it's nice to be at this. It's been 3 years of this. It's nice.
And all the other teams are mad.
For sure, man.
Let's talk about the other teams. Let's give them a bit of a spotlight here in the CFL Power Rankings. Let's talk about Ottawa starting off in the basement once again. They're not moving. I'm sorry. They just fired their head coach. It's a mess. It's a mess.
It is. They're at number 9. Again, offense has really lacked any kind of, we talk about the Bombers' rhythm and we're complaining about it, but that Ottawa offense has never had any rhythm. Trouble scoring TDs all year. Like, they can move the ball sometimes, but it's just like they get in there and it's field goals, settling for field goals, right? So that team never got off the ground this year, and hate to see anyone get fired, especially Paul Lapalisse, but it was coming.
Who do you have at 8?
I got the Elks. Another disappointing game there. They had a chance. They were in there.
Come
on. 7 drives that they got inside the Montreal 35.
And
3 field goals, TD, and 3 turnovers.
That's nonsense.
Like even the pick on what was it? The 5-yard line or was it on the goal line? Like I don't even know that. It got returned 100 yards.
Yeah.
So I guess so like, come on, man. Like you're there. It's something. What is with that stadium that just does it to them?
Oh my goodness. Before I was like, you know what? Get over the name change. But there is something haunting that stadium. And it's not the name change. It's the idiots who can't get over it.
Yeah. 15 straight losses there. New pro record. Longest home losing streak. That's one you never want to really tout around.
No, that's they still have that thing on the when you enter the city of champions.
Got to take that down. I know. Yeah. Wow. I mean, if you ask Oilers fans, they're probably winning the cup this year. So.
I got Hamilton at 7. I also had Edmonton at 8. I have Hamilton at 7. And it could have been a flip-flop with the other team I have at next. So I don't know what to say about Hamilton, man. You know what? I'm never picking them again this year. So.
Well, okay. Yeah, I got Hamilton at 7 as well. And I'm assuming the team you have at 6 is the team they play next week or what?
Yeah. The battle
so
for that spot.
You could be flipping those two around next week, but it's a big game. Saskatchewan wins, and they're basically, they got that spot, right?
Yeah.
Hamilton wins, and they're right back in the thick of it. So Hamilton really need to win this game. It'll be a good game to watch.
I think Hamilton ends with like Ottawa, and Saskatchewan has a bit of a tougher
Calgary.
schedule.
Back to back with Calgary.
So really, you can turn things around. Calgary will probably want to cement home second place because they have to outright win it against BC.
Yeah.
They can still win it outright, yeah?
They have to win the rest of their games. They can't end up tied with BC because they lost the season record. But
exactly,
Hamilton's got 4 games left. Saskatchewan's only with 3. And yeah, like you said, Hamilton, they got a game in between, but then they got a back-to-back with Ottawa to end. So
this is big. Because Hamilton has to. Oh no, they could tie the same record as Saskatchewan and still be in.
Yeah,
but still win this and don't worry about it.
Well, exactly. And the way Saskatchewan's played, we can't give much credit to Hamilton. They've been terrible too over the last little bit, but Saskatchewan haven't, they're 4 losses in a row here. So,
oh boy. Okay. Poor Saskatchewan. I have Montreal meddling in the middle for most of the year. See what I did there? Montreal meddling in the middle most of the year. Who do you have at 5?
You know what? I'm going to put Toronto there. I'm going to give Montreal a little bit of credit and move them above. Hey, they're only 1 win away. And I think now Montreal would actually beat Toronto in a game. So
you think Montreal's going to beat Toronto in a head-to-head game?
Yep.
Why are you going to think that? With Trevor Harris?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I don't think so.
I think both of those it'll be dictated by those Ds because both of those Ds are good. And it'll be which quarterback, Harris or MBT, that can actually do enough to win that game.
I'd take MBT for sure, especially in the second half.
He wasn't much in the second half against Calgary in that beatdown.
Well, they don't have to play Calgary; they'd be playing Montreal.
Your boy Chad Kelly even got into the game.
Oh, he should have been in the game a long time. Where's that Chad Kelly package I was asking for 8 weeks ago?
The guy was 1 for 5 with an INT, so he needs a little bit more time.
Yeah, I want a package though. They could play 2 quarterbacks at the same time. They could do the Wildcat or something. They won't. No one ever listens to me because I don't.
3 wins in a row for Montreal. And I know Toronto was on a winning streak before this game, but at least Montreal has beaten Winnipeg. Toronto hasn't beaten any decent team at all this season. So
yeah.
But do they play this week?
Montreal?
Or is it coming up?
Montreal just had a bye, didn't they?
No, Montreal and Toronto coming up this week.
Oh. Is it this week that I play?
Is it this? It's either this week or next. It's quick. It's soon. So
it could mean something.
Yeah, it'll be that battle for first.
It can mean something.
Toronto's held that thing basically all year, but they gotta hang on some more.
We will see who has the better who will see who's the better team.
Yeah.
I have BC at 4.
BC at 4. So you still got Toronto up there then.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think BC, because I had Toronto 3, BC 4 last week. I don't think BC beating Ottawa shakes my confidence too much. We'll see if what Vernon Adams can do against a real defense.
Yeah, I give them. I got BC at 3, so I still got Yeah, so BC, Montreal, Toronto in that order. Yeah, it's not a big win for BC, but it's good to see Vernon Adams get into a bit of rhythm. But again, it's those top three teams for me right now that should be the top three no matter what going into the playoffs even as well, right? Toronto's got to beat someone good for me to think that they have a shot in these playoffs.
Well, I was going back and forth between Toronto and BC. I don't want to see another game of James Butler being dominant. Because that's what they need. If Vernon Adams is going to be successful, they need James Butler to be the bell cow.
Yeah.
And be a receiving option as well. Because that opens everything up for Vernon Adams, gives him a what do you call that? The option, put it in his belly or take it yourself, or pass it. So if James Butler can be the bell cow again, I think I'll buy in for sure.
Well, they're going to need to use him a little bit more, right? Because Burnham's out. Lucky Whitehead's going to be out for a few weeks.
Yeah, Lucky Whitehead got a little, yeah.
So you're losing two good guys in that receiving core. So, yeah, they're going to need Butler to step up for the next little week. And that'll help Vernon Adams still learn this offense. Because even though he had a good first half against Ottawa and then kind of tapered off, but, I mean, the score was already out of hand, so that might have changed things a little bit. But he did good. It's good to see. We'll see. Yeah. He's going to have to play Winnipeg soon. So,
and the dramatics of that, back to back at the end of the year. How much will the Bombers be invested? Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, because like we said, Winnipeg wins this week, BC loses, West Finals wrapped up. They can start resting guys at that point, right?
Absolutely. So we got Calgary, Winnipeg 2-1.
Yep. Yeah, nothing too impressive out of Calgary there, especially on offense. Defense, yes. Mm-hmm. But offense just, I mean, it didn't get much done. 2 INTs for Mayer. So, like we said, Toronto's got a good D, and they're going to need that D to keep games close.
Yeah. But they'll need to establish their own bit of a running game, too, when it gets colder. We know that in the CFL, how it helps, as we've seen with Andrew Harris, to have a good, solid running game late in the season.
Well, that's what you say. And you talk about those teams. The 3 best teams have probably the 3 best running games in Butler, BC, and Kadeem Carey, and then Olivier and Winnipeg, right? Yeah. And then Montreal maybe getting Stanback. Or did Stanback play this weekend?
Did he?
I can't remember. He was supposed to be back, but I didn't check it out to see if he did play. Should probably know that. But if they get him back, especially for, winter playoffs kind of thing, not winter, but cold playoff games.
Yeah.
That'll help. Toronto doesn't, they got the Olette, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see if he can keep it going.
He knows what it is. He knows what it is about this weather. Speaking of, we haven't spoken of Ottawa because they're in the basement for a while, but let's bring them back up again, firing Paul LaPolice. Who do you think Ottawa should be looking at for their next head coach? Early head coach candidates from Ray and Benny. What do you got?
Who else but Kahari Jones?
Yeah, I got him in there. You got to give that guy a call and see what's up.
Yeah.
I'd say you got to call that guy.
For sure. I think he's probably got to be your first guy you look at. He had some successful seasons in Montreal. Good offense and everything like that. But to me, Ottawa's got to fix that quarterback situation. If Mazzoli comes back and could be the same as Mazzoli, hey, great. But they need better options there. And maybe let Caleb Evans roll for the rest of the season to see what you have there.
Yeah.
Right. But to me, the biggest guy I would probably look at is Kahari.
Yeah, I got Kahari on that list. I'd also actually like to see who the interim is right now. Bobby Dice get a shot at it. He's been in the CFL a long time. A Winnipeg product. I guess from the Dave Ritchie tree. That was his first shot under Dave Ritchie. He cut his teeth with the St. Vital Mustangs. Shout out to them, even though I'll always be a nomad at heart. So I'd love to see Ottawa give him a chance.
Yeah, he'd be an interesting one. I don't see them going after Buck Pierce because they probably want to shy away from the Winnipeg connection for a second time. But I'm sure Buck's going to get some interviews this offseason here and there. If there's openings. Ottawa's open, and Montreal, I don't know if Machocha is going to stay coaching that. So there's another option there too. Depends what happens in Hamilton too with Steinauer, if they can make a late run, or Saskatchewan. So there could be quite a few openings here.
Yeah, there's a couple of Winnipeg roots in other than Bobby Dice. I think Alex Suber, former DB, he's coaching there, and I think the receiver coach might be also former Blue Bomber. I can't remember though. Marcus Howell? No, Marcus Howell's in Edmonton coaching actually. I actually have a dark horse for a candidate for coach for Ottawa, and Greg Marshall. Remember him? He was a defensive coordinator and defensive line coach with the Bombers. Doug Barry.
Right, yeah.
And he's been coaching actually at the U of T, the Varsity Blues. And the first season he had a terrible program. He won 0 games, and they were in the playoffs last year. And he knows the Canadian game, and he's like a Canadian college draft coordinator with a couple teams in the CFL. So I think maybe he would be an interesting dark horse shot at being the head coach. I don't know.
He ended up coaching Saskatchewan, did he not?
I think
here
2 years.
Did he last that long?
A very short stint.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it didn't go very well, right?
That went horribly.
Yeah.
It went horribly. And I'm thinking maybe his experience with younger guys, with a more diverse team in Toronto, might give him a different approach.
Yeah.
Might be good, but I don't think they'll retread him. But
no, and I haven't heard his name at all, kind of thing in anything. So
that's why he's a dark horse.
Yeah. Another one to me would be a good one. Mark Killam, Calgary St. Peter's special teams. That guy's been here forever, like in the CFL.
Yeah.
You think at some point he's going to get a shot, right?
He's going to be on people's list for sure.
Yeah. And you think, hey, especially if there's 4 openings or 3 to 4 openings in the CFL, that dude's got to get a look at some point. So he could be another one too.
Saskatchewan, maybe.
Yeah.
That's where they're
they like their special team coaches, right?
Yeah,
Dickinson was what?
Wasn't Dickinson in Calgary as a special team coordinator with his bro?
Yeah. So
there you go. We like our special team coordinator here too with Mike O'Shea.
Exactly.
But he gets rings. NFL action?
Yeah, another crazy weekend, but a little bit quieter for the most part.
So let's look at some games that have changed a team's season this week in a positive way. And let's look at games that have possibly doomed a team's season this week. You want to start with doomed, or you want to change positive?
Yeah, let's start with doomed first. You go ahead, start with your doomed, and we'll go end with positive, I guess.
Well, I can't ignore the Dolphins. That game very well could have doomed the Dolphins. If he's out long term, the way he was playing, just the negligence. You know what? If I was Tua, man, I might think of saying, I have a headache every day for the rest of my life and sue everyone under the rainbow and just be done with it already. Because this is crazy. It's crazy.
No NFL player is ever going to do that, right? They rather go back out there and get another concussion.
I'd be like, bro, think about it. $250 million just to sit and do nothing for the rest of your life? Or do something positive rather than getting beaten up? Yes.
They're all just wired weird, right? Because Tua probably did whatever he could to get back on that field too, and he should not be in that much control to be able to get on the field. But he will say whatever he needs to say to get back out there, right? So you can't put much faith. Like even those borderline tests that they have, they fudge it, right? They'll test poorly the first time they do it while they're not concussed, so that while they're concussed, they'll look good, right? So
I'm really interested to see how this investigation goes, where these lies and where these mishaps of this independent guy got fired. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a start, so hopefully it leads to something. Tua's going to be out this week, so we'll see. Hopefully he recovers okay.
Don't go on the field and damage your brain more. Just sue all these fools who made a mistake. Any doom games for you?
We'll see. It's a long season, but I'm putting the Ravens on this list, losing to the Bills. Already blowing 2 games in the second half, one to earlier to Miami, this one to the Bills. At some point, these are going to get demoralizing. They could be 4-0 possibly right now, but they're sitting at 2-2.
They should be.
Yeah. So we'll see if this one ends up dooming them. Lamar wasn't great in the game. Had some decent plays. Buffalo's D is still good, but you had that lead. And the Ravens D just can't stop anyone or stop anyone enough.
Bad decision to go for the touchdown, or should they went for the field goal?
I kind of agree with Harbaugh. You probably saw for sure Buffalo was going to drive down the field. Maybe Buffalo would have settled for a field goal to tie. Once they got down there, who knows? But I kind of like them going for the touchdown.
I agree. I think the passing play was stupid, though.
Yes. And then it's like it was, what was it, last year as well? I think when Huntley was in, Lamar was hurt, and they went for 2 against the Packers. Why not?
Right.
You knew your D wasn't going to stop them, so you went for the win. But again, though, terrible play call from what I remember in that one too.
Horrible, yeah. I think that very much could doom them. Luckily, they're in the AFC Norris division, so that's up in the air. Cincinnati looked good though. They're looking good.
Yeah,
Careful.
if we go to games that change the team season for the better.
Yeah, we can go back and forth. We definitely can. The Bengals, that's one of yours?
I'm going to say the Bengals.
That's so true.
You picked the Dolphins. That may have doomed theirs. I'm going to go with the Bengals. That was a big win. They needed that to get back to 2-2.
Yeah.
They lost a couple close games, the first two games. It did not look good in that. The O-line looked way better against the Dolphins, giving Burrow time. So maybe they're starting to gel. We'll see. But that was a big win, and that could have turned around their season.
Yeah, that defense looked pretty good against Miami. That pressure, like even though Tyreek Hill got 10 catches for 160 or something ridiculous? That's ridiculous. That guy's going to be
Tyreek Hill, and they had to start chucking the ball late in that game, so he was going to get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a good game. I have the Raiders, actually, a game that kind of that could possibly turn this season around because they're looking horrible at 0-3, but they pulled a game out and against a division rival.
Yeah, I picked them as well, actually. They're another option. Yes, they needed that win. 0-4, done. Right?
Especially two losses against... Yes,
in that division, yes.
Brother, we got the Raiders for a reason. And the expectations were there. Mm-hmm. You know, what a deflating loss that would have had. That would have totally taken the air out of that locker room.
Yeah, if they would have blown that game, not found a way to win it. Josh McDaniels has not won since he was coaching Denver. What was it, back in 2010 or something like that? So
don't even remind me of that guy in that playoff win. Well, we'll talk about the Steelers soon enough.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, just go on your knee and pray, bro. Go on your knee and pray.
He prayed for that Hail Mary.
And they got it. Son of a gun. I think that the Saints loss doomed them. I think they're beyond repair now. They're not going to catch up in that division. I'm sorry. Even with the Buccaneers kind of reeling a little bit, it's not looking good for the Saints at 0-4.
Yeah, we talked about them in the last episode. Can they turn their season around? Can they get back in it? We said they had to probably win their next two games here, and they did not start on the right foot. Unfortunate, the double doink field goal kick so but they had the game and they let the Vikings they fought back into that game, but then they let the Vikings just go downfield and score. So
yeah,
that could be it. And the Bucks, they may be 2-2, but their schedule gets a little bit softer coming up. So, they got some winnable games where the Saints schedule looked, to me, when we were looking at it last time, terrible. So a lot of injuries. Winston was out. Kamara was out.
Oh, goodness.
Michael Thomas was out.
Yeah, they're not coming back. It's
Andy
done.
Dalton looks like Andy Dalton.
Oh, they're done. They're done. I'm screwed. Who's gonna make the Super Bowl? The Bengals and the Saints. Well, the Bengals look yes. The Saints look no. I have to prevent myself from swearing out of that one. Any other doom or happiness games from this week?
No, I got nothing else. Nothing else on that right now.
Well, I obviously have.
Hey, you know what? I'll say it right now. I'll say the Niners. Big win tonight against the Rams. May have changed their season around. They needed that win after looking terrible against the Broncos.
Jimmy G
looked all right tonight. Got a couple scores, but missed some big ones. So
there you go, Jimmy G. Well, let's talk about my team then. The Jets just beat the Steelers. Kenny Pickett is apparently the starting quarterback next week. Matt Canada is still calling plays. Steeler Nation, we are screwed. We are screwed, and if we don't take care of this Kenny Pickett, he will be the next David Carr. He will be screwed.
Yeah, it's a big task to pass it over to him, especially because we were looking at their schedule the next four. Bills, Bucks, Dolphins, Eagles in that order. So 4 tough defenses. Never mind the offenses on those teams, but 4 tough defenses for Kenny Pickett. The thing that drives me nuts for Pittsburgh too, and I got because Deontay Johnson, man, that guy's got talent, he's got skill, and he doesn't even catch a pass till late in the game when Pickett's in. Like, it doesn't make sense. Get this offense kind of rolling through that guy. They got to get that run game going. You should have fixed that O-line, especially if you're going to go with Trubisky. Get that O-line a little bit better.
Have I mentioned that Matt Canada sucks?
Couple times.
Benny, he is the worst. He doesn't know how to call plays. He doesn't know how to use the field. He doesn't know how to go deep. It's just, they're setting this kid up for failure. I'm very much afraid of this. They don't have a healthy Najee Harris. They don't have a good O-line. They don't have a defense that can, get the other offense. It's just, this could be a recipe for disaster.
Yes, it could be a very long season. One that you don't see very often. Especially you had Ben Roethlisberger for so many years, and he could hide if the O-line wasn't good or this wasn't good. TJ Watt being out has hurt that defense as well. It's like he's still got some good players on there. But watching that last drive by the Jets yesterday to score was like, wow, this is not the Steelers' D of before. Typically they would stop that, if anything, even for a field goal at least or anything. But the fact that he drove in is like, wow.
I can't with this team. I can't. They're not good.
This will be the toughest coaching career or season, for Mike Tomlin, and see what he can get out of the season and then maybe build into the next. But Absolutely. Like you say, you got to keep Pickett upright. You got to see him progress this year and be able to get better, not killed.
Well, they can't keep him upright, so he won't progress. So we're effed. And by we're, I mean they are. QB competition in Dallas?
Not really. They're never benching Prescott. I could see them delaying maybe Prescott coming back. Cooper Rush.
Week 5 is too soon. Week 5 is too soon, but he's scared for his job. He wants to come back. You said yourself, they want to come back, especially when their job is on the line. They saw what happened to Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, exactly. But it's tougher though right now, right? Bledsoe was making probably decent money back then, but the amount that Prescott's making right now, it's tough to bench the guy. But Cooper Rush is getting the job done. He's not nothing spectacular or anything like that, but he's not making mistakes.
Absolutely.
He's also got to play some good competition or terrible competition, not good competition in the Giants and Commanders. So when the Dallas D is that good, they can handle those two offenses enough for Cooper Rush to get things done.
Yep. DeMarcus Lawrence says, don't get it twisted. And I agree. There's definitely not a situation there, but there should be a short leash. And we'll see how Mark McCarthy manages it.
You got the Rams coming up next Sunday. So you might have to go toe-to-toe with that offense, although that offense did not look good tonight. But you might have to go toe-to-toe, so maybe Cooper's got to do a little bit more. But if Dallas's D can continue to play and shut down other offenses, they shut down Tom Brady in that first game, holding him to basically field goals.
Yeah.
So if they can do that, then they got a chance. But if they have to get a shootout, maybe we'll see what Cooper can do.
Good for Mark McCarthy on winning 3 games with his backup. Hey, that's some good coaching.
Yeah, I'll give him some credit for that.
That's some good coaching. Let's go into the NFL Power 5 and see if the Dallas Cowboys makes any of ours. Who do you got at number 5?
You know what? I had an easy time picking 4, and then the next 5 were like, oh my God, there's a lot of teams at 3-1, but a lot of teams at 3-1 that I don't even know if they deserve to be 3-1, like the Giants, the Cowboys, Vikings. So I settled on the Packers, even though they haven't looked great in getting to that 3-1. They're still 3-1. They still got Aaron Rodgers. They got a great running game. Maybe if those receivers get a little bit more in sync with Rodgers, but even Rodgers, he's looked out of sync so far this year and throwing balls up that he normally doesn't and getting intercepted. But I picked them as the best of the 3-1 teams.
I have the Bengals at number 5. The protection looked good against Miami. The defense was getting into his face, like we mentioned before. And that's not a good sign for the rest of the AFC. I have the Green Bay Packers at actually number 4. Rodgers looked okay, but Aaron Jones looked solid, and Lazard looked solid. The defense is not quite there yet, but I expect they will be. They're not there yet, so I got Green Bay at 4.
I was surprised by their defense this week, especially with Hoyer going out, and they had the Zappy, the third stringer, and it was mostly running game, but they actually moved the ball.
Yeah, they got
down the field. So,
who do you got for?
I dropped the Dolphins to number 4. Still 3-1, but the handling of Tua kind of soured on me a bit from keeping them up there. And they did not, even with Tua still in that game, they weren't looking great against the Bengals as well. So
yeah, Dolphins are on my top 5. Without Tua, for sure, you're out of there. The Eagles cracked my top 5. I have them at 3. You play who you play, and you win. And they have won, and their defense looked good. So, I'll take them at 3 right now.
I got the Bills at 3. They struggled a little bit against the Ravens, found it tough to score, but they got it done. And they won a close game, which they've lost a lot of close games, actually, over the last little bit. So they got that done. They're number 3 for me.
Pretty good. I got Kansas City creeping in there at number 2. I don't think I even had them did I have them in my top 5 last week? I can't remember. In these first few weeks, it's going to be crazy. Someone could be 17 and enter at number 2 next week, just based on their performance and who they play. So I got Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes, one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the league, man. And it's looking good with that offense kind of rounding into shape.
Yeah, they looked good last night. That Tampa Bay D couldn't stop them. I got the Eagles at number 2. Like you say, they've played who they played and they've won. They've got things done. Besides yesterday, with the weather not being the greatest, Jalen Hurts has looked pretty good in that offense. So
props to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the defense.
Yeah. And the defense is very good.
You know, Trevor Lawrence looked kind of decent in the first 3 weeks, and then they slowed him down. He didn't look horrible, but they slowed him down.
He looked like not a rookie, but a new guy in the league kind of thing. I had to drop the Jags out of my top 5 just because of that game.
Oh, they're not at number 1?
No, just a spoiler alert.
That was good, though.
They started off good yesterday. They were up 14-0, right?
They were. Yeah, and I don't think they're a bad team at all. They'll be competitive, and they'll give people trouble, I think.
Yeah.
Number 1 for me are the Bills. They're just, for me, the best all-around team. They're coached hella well. They have a top 3 receiver, one of the top 2 quarterbacks, who ran for 70 yards and a touchdown. Beat the Ravens at home in a close game. They're number 1 for me.
I got the Chiefs at number 1 right now. That offense looked dominating. I know that the D, I mean, Brady had to throw like almost 60 times last night, so.
You don't want that.
No. So, but that offense just looked unstoppable. Like the plays just were crazy. Mahomes finding his receivers, Mahomes to Kelsey, it's just, you watch that offense and you're like, is anyone ever going to stop it? But
yeah,
it's a good bounce back for them after that Indy game from last week. So,
hey, talk about this Mahomes, the way he plays, like the constant movement in the pocket. Did you see that touchdown that he just hucked there from after running? Like that guy's playing like Doug Flutie played in the 90s in the CFL.
Yeah.
Doug Flutie would dominate the NFL if he was playing this now.
Man, he actually did pretty good in the NFL even when he was there. If he would just got more of a chance, right? Rob Johnson,
who quarterback. It was Ralph
Wade
Wilson.
Phillips.
It was Ralph Wilson who forced Wade Phillips to play him.
Yeah,
clown.
Terrible.
Rest in peace. But
yes, but
that
still,
decision's horrible. Let's talk some Winnipeg Jets. We're on the brink of the 2022-2023 season. Let's talk about this Brad Lambert.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good.
Wow, 18?
18, yeah. And he did play, what was it? Was he in Finland last year? Finnish men's league or Swedish?
Yeah.
Finland, yeah. So maybe that helped, but yeah, he's looked pretty good so far in this preseason. And especially in the game the other night. I know it was against Oilers, not many of the Oilers stars or anything like that.
Yeah.
But his speed and moving the puck, that OT dangle that he gave himself a scoring chance where he got through a few guys in that.
Almost.
Exactly. And it was such a small space where he got through all those guys.
Yeah.
And if he could have finished it off, that goal would have been a highlight reel goal for weeks, right? So he's looked impressive. Even his shootout attempt hit the post, but he beat Skinner pretty good on that. So he's looking impressive. And he also started that setup with Perfetti and Dubois, and Dubois' disallowed goal. Like that was a nice play from Lowry to him, to Perfetti, to Dubois. It was nice. And it's nice to see him and Perfetti look pretty good together on the ice with Dubois, I believe. Speaking
of Perfetti, it seems like Lambert is the media darling this year of the training camp. He probably would have been from day one if he would have been injured early in camp. He missed, I can't remember how exactly long, but he missed some time.
Yeah, he missed a little bit there,
due to a minor injury. But, I was reading an article in the Winnipeg Sun, and they painted this picture of this guy whose makeshift locker is beside the team whiteboard, not expecting to stick on with the team. 30th pick overall in the last draft, and he's just showing this amazing hands and speed, like you say. And Rick Bowness is like, not the only thing, but one of the things that he needs to really progress on is just the speed of thinking of the game.
Yeah.
And to be an 18-year-old and be in that position, I think that's pretty good. Not worried about his hands or able to keep up with the pace of the game, but just mentally make the decisions. That's a pretty good spot to be in with this kid. I don't know if he'll stick on this year, but dang.
Yeah, especially go back to the World Juniors, and I don't think he had a very good World Juniors. So people were like all over that pick, even like, probably, picked him too high when he was dropping kind of thing. And then he looked okay in the Young Stars tournament, had some good plays with Perfetti and stuff in there. But yeah, he's looked good. I'd like to see them even give him a chance. If he can finish these last couple preseason games strong, give him that 9 games that he can get, see what he can do. Sure. And then you have the option. You have he can go sent back to juniors and play there for the rest of the year. But give him a chance, right? It doesn't hurt.
They got to give him the 9. They'll give him the 9 games for sure.
You got to give him something, at least in the NHL, and see what he can do against these big boys. Like we say, preseason's tough because at home you're playing all your stars almost, and everyone sends over like a B-side team kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's hard to know really until those games get going and the physicality of it starts to pick up a little bit.
So with that in mind, seeing what some of these guys are doing in the preseason, what are your projected lineups going into the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you had Lambert in there, then you can mix up these lines a little bit more. If Lambert's not there, it's tough to make those top 2 lines without Wheeler being in there.
For sure, Wheeler's in the top 6.
To me, though, if you could have, and I saw someone else post this on Twitter, so I think his name was Nick on Twitter.
Nick. Hey, Nick.
Yeah, it was. He had an interesting lineup concept. It was you had Ehlers and Scheifele together, and then Lambert was on their line. PLD and Connor, and then Perfetti was on their line, and then the third line was Lowry, Wheeler, and say Appleton or something like that. That would be an interesting setup to see for at least a couple games to see what those guys can do. My projected lineups are probably you got Connor, Scheifele.
I don't know about that thought. Like, unless Wheeler is proven not to be a point or like a 0.86 player per game, I don't think you could drop him out of the top 6 now. That's not an experiment you make earlier in the season. I disagree with that. I disagree with Nick on that sentiment there.
Hey, it's an interesting thing to see because you've talked about Wheeler on the 4th line last year.
When he wasn't performing, for sure, because we needed a boost on something. But I think going into this season, unless you can bump him off that, unless someone has proven through camp that they should be taking that spot.
This is on the precipice that Lambert makes the team, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to throw Lambert on that third line with Lowry and Appleton. To me, I don't think that's a great spot for him. Maybe it is, but that's probably where possibly where he would end up. But it'd be interesting to see at least for a couple games those lines roll. I think at the end of it, Lambert probably doesn't stick around anyways. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to me to see them kind of break up Connor and PLD, considering how much chemistry they had last year. But it looks like Scheifele, Ehlers, Connor are going to be that line 1, right?
I really want to see Dubois and Ehlers together. I don't know why. It's just there's a different kind of chemistry with those two. Am I willing to put Wheeler and Scheifele together on the same line? Maybe. Maybe it's a different effect when the guy doesn't have the C on his chest and he's just playing right wing on the front line and he can just focus on the game. Maybe it'll be different. I'm willing to try that. I don't know if I'm willing to drop Wheeler out of the top 6 quite yet, though.
Yeah, why not?
But you know me, I will be willing if it's not happening.
You'll be quick to jump that gun once Wheeler doesn't. Wheeler's going to get the point. I don't know if he's on the first power play unit.
Yeah.
So we'll see, because that's where the majority of his points ended up coming, right? So maybe he won't be hitting his that mark as many times, especially if you're not with Scheifele too, where the two had some, they had chemistry. No matter how bad their defense was, they still got together and they put up points, right? So it'll be interesting to see. These last couple preseason games will tell us a little bit more of where guys are going to end up. If Lambert has impressive last couple games, it'll be hard to send him down right away anyways. So.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you can send him down right away. I think
no, you got to give him a chance.
Here. Absolutely. Yeah. So what does that leave for defense? Not leave for defense. Where it's tough. I found this was really tough.
Yeah, I mean, you probably got Morrissey, DeMello, Dylan Schmidt, and then it all depends on the other one. It's probably going to end up being Stanley with Pionk.
No, you don't have Pionk in there? Pionk?
Yeah, Pionk's in there.
Top line? You don't have Pionk in the top line?
Well, Morrissey, DeMello to me would be top. Then Pionk would probably be second with either. I mean, depends who you have. It depends who you're keeping. Damn. Is it going to be Stanley? It's probably going to be Stanley, right?
For the beginning, yeah.
And then you got Sandberg and Heinola together, on the outside looking in. I would probably put Morrissey, DeMello first, Pionk, and who did he play with last year mainly?
Not Schmidt.
Was it Dylan?
Must have been Dylan.
So maybe Pionk, Dylan, and then Stanley or Schmidt on that third pair or something like that. Or switch around Dylan and Schmidt,
Yeah. Pionk, Dylan, first pairing. I don't think Morrissey has to necessarily be on that. Although he had a decent year last year.
He had a pretty good bounce back year compared to even Pionk. He was a little bit better than Pionk last year. Yeah. So if he can keep that going again this year, for sure.
I have an issue sometimes with him in the corners and him being physical and in front of the net.
He's just got to get that the corners. He's got to just get that puck moving quickly, right? Don't be digging in there if you don't have to move in front. But yeah, front of the net with some big guys, it's a little bit tougher for him. But
is Hanola going to be in this lineup come the All-Star break?
Yes, he's got to be, man. I think we've seen enough of Stanley. I'd rather see a little bit more either of Sandberg or Hanola and give them some extended play and see what they can do. Mm-hmm. And have Stanley be that 7-8 guy right now.
Yeah.
Unless you can move one of these guys for something, like for a good return, not just give the guy away.
Hanela's pushing him. And he will get time on the first power play. I didn't see the last game. I don't know if he got any time on the first power play.
Yeah, he did. And that's the thing. He's got the skill. He's got that talent, or the offensive skill, the talent there. He's got to work on his defense a little bit more. He's still making a few mistakes here and there. Mm-hmm. But watching him on QB, that power play or moving the puck on that power play is something. It's beautiful to watch, kind of thing, right? He moves it around, quick passes, kind of thing. So the defensive side, and that's where people will kill him quite a bit.
I'm just waiting for the Bombers. I'm just waiting for the Jets to find that defenseman, that everything's built around.
Yeah,
that Bufflin.
Since Bufflin,
still hurts. If Perfetti,
I think as Jets fans, we're always going to be hurt or have that, what happened to Buff, or where did Buff go and why did he leave, kind of thing. So
if Perfetti takes a huge step forward, depending on the situation where the Jets are you looking to move Dubois?
I don't want it to move Dubois at all, but I think it's going to be inevitable at some point that Dubois is probably going to go.
He's hitting unrestricted free agency. There's no doubt about it. With the contract, with the year he signed, he's hitting UFA.
But it's still another year after this, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, so they still got him for 2 more years at least, hopefully, unless someone makes you an offer you can't refuse, or
how many years does Scheifele
steps up. I think about the same, 2 or 3. Yeah, him and Wheeler were the same.
So
Wheeler's got 2, Scheifele's got 2, kind of thing.
Yeah. If I'm the GM, I'm kind of looking to, as much as I've trashed on Scheifele in the offseason due to the comments, I'd look to actually keep him around.
Yeah,
and move Dubois. You're going to have to make a decision, I believe.
Yeah, Scheifele, I've never wanted to get rid of Scheifele totally. It's just his attitude was a little bit wonky there for a bit. But yeah, he's the type of guy who seems like he still wants to be in Winnipeg, and loves being here. Whereas Dubois he's got his foot out the door, kind of thing. Just wants to see his other options. But Scheifele is going to want to get paid also, right, to make up for this contract that he basically almost gave a gift to the Jets, kind of. So
with Wheeler's $8 million and plus coming off the books, it frees up a little bit of scratch.
Yeah, if Scheifele has a killer 2 seasons coming out, it's hard not to pay him that money, right?
And plays defense?
We'll see about that. And that's the thing. You got Scheifele and Connor, who are very adverse to defense, just like Scheifele and Wheeler are, right? Mm-hmm. On that top line. So we'll see. Bonus has got to get them to play some D and some back checking.
Oh, he will. He will. I won't guarantee it, but I'll just say it. You got any shout-outs?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the Bombers here. I'm going to shout out Dalton Schoen. Breaking 1,000 yards and getting his 11th TD of the season, breaking the Bomber rookie record for TDs in a season. What a guy! Went
out for the ball, split 2 defensemen, touchdown.
Yeah. What a guy! What a find!
That was crazy. Thank you, Ted Govea and Danny McManus again.
Yeah,
again. Speaking of talent they find, my shout-out goes to D. Alford, playing for the Atlanta Falcons, wrapping up the game in overtime with a huge interception. That guy's having a good time at Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's such a good story. Like, the people in Atlanta love his story. And to have him for 1 year in Winnipeg, a big year, and he has so many fans in Winnipeg. It's so good to see him succeeding there.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. And awesome to see him step up and put that game away yesterday.
Beautiful. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Again, don't forget to check out social media. Check out our contest for some free tickets to the Elks game on Saturday. And have a good week.
The Elks game at Investors Group Field.
Yes.
Just to make sure you Edmonton fans you can enter, but y'all got to find your way here to use those tickets. We're not paying for that.
No.
And in the famous words of Bobby Knight, when my time on earth is gone and my activities are past, I want them to bear me upside down and my critics can kiss my... Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.